Okay, so there have been a couple of new things we did in Quiz during this year. The first one was ephemerons. Elliot Miranda added support for ephemerals to the OpenSmalltalk VM quite a while ago, and we started using them this year. So I guess everyone or most people already know that weak dictionaries with values that form an object graph that eventually point back to the key are never collected by the garbage collector. And finalization using weak collections is complicated and expensive, and ephemerals solve both these problems. So in Quiz, we are using this new ephemeral identity dictionary for object level events and dependency, and for object property tables, and a couple of other places in the system. We still have just a few of the older weak collections. We only have a weak array, of course, and also weak set and weak identity set. And those are used for the symbol table. We use a weak set for the symbol table, actually a new implementation of weak set. And weak identity set is used for, yeah, obsolete classes and failing morph in the world. We use weak collections in these cases because we don't have properties, we don't form an object graph that could go back to the key, so we don't have the collection problem, and we don't need finalization. But when these things are important, we are using the new ephemerals. We have been using ephemerals for almost a year. At first, there were a few bumps, but a couple of tweaks in the image support, and I believe also a couple of tweaks in the VM were needed when doing heavy stress on the due finalization system, and it's been pretty stable for quite some months. So we are happy with that. Something completely unrelated. There have been some. I've been doing some work on the vector graphics engine. This was mostly in April, and there have been an important improvement in performance. So let me show a little bit. SVG is not part of the base image, but we can load support for SVG, and then we can open our well-known example. Okay, this thing is a rather complex SVG with several hundred paths, and it renders very quickly. And something that I added very recently is an FPS monitor here. So you can see that the limit it shows is greater than 500 FPS because we don't do more than that. It's useless. And when Quiz is idle, FPS goes down up to around 5 frames per second. So if we do this, we will stress the graphic system, and we see that it can still do around 10 frames per second while fully redrawing all the SVG elements. So performance is quite good. Something that was also done this year, we used to have SVG clipping only at one level, and I added support for multi-level SVG clipping, and now this SVG example Sorry, please go out. Now this SVG clipping works correctly. Before this example that uses clipping of some shapes to the others had some defects. If we try the telephone example in an old quiz image, it doesn't look right. So this was fixed. What else? What else?
You're showing your age with that picture of a phone.
Sorry?
You're showing your age with the picture of a mobile phone, like, or well, it's like a
Oh,
hands-free one, isn't it? It's like a RF phone, isn't it?
yes, yes. This is, yeah.
I
I don't
remember
think it
having one.
was.
I think I had that very phone as well. It's like,
I used to use one of these, but I haven't used it in ages. You're right. I should get it because it's a good a demo of the SVG functionality. It uses a lot of subtle details in the SVG specification, so it's not uh, real really trivial to draw. So, but yes, you're right. It's been uh, around for too long.
yeah.
Okay. And something else is this is, come on. I will open another one. The thing you see here is that these dashed lines um, that can be animated like that. Previously, they were done by Smalltalk code, and now they are done by the plugin. So we also have a, pretty decent FPS while drawing these shapes that are also non-trivial. Um, so vector graphics is working quite nicely. It's pretty stable and mature, and it works well. What else can I show? Something that maybe you didn't see is this Pythagoras tree, that it's a kind of fractal that looks rather nice. This shape change I'm doing with the scroll wheel of the mouse. So it's just another demo of what SVG or what vector graphics can do in Quiz. And yet another one is this Battling Farm. This is another fractal. This one is redrawing the fractal each time the draw-on method is done. So right now it's doing nothing, but the moment I move it, it's redrawing everything. And it's drawing 40,000 circles to draw this. So, and still gets more than 10 frames per second while doing that. So performance is rather good. Okay, so this is all I have with respect to vector graphics. And the last thing I want to show, for building tools, Quizmorphic has the same as Squeak, a layout object that can distribute submorphs in rows and columns. This we had for a very long time, and this has been used for building all the tools. But we recently added a new class of layout that where is this? Where is this? That works differently. That works like the. Isn't it from is layout morph? Yeah. It's not in form layout morph. The new class is form layout morph, but the example is in layout morph. And this distribute each submorph independently of the other one using a specification of a fraction in the owner space for each of the sides of the submorph and an offset. Okay, so this is pretty common in other environments. And it's what's usually used for building regular business-like user interfaces based on widgets, okay? It's not used by the Smalltalk tools, and that's one of the reasons why the Smalltalk tools look very different from the Windows forms that everybody builds for business applications. But for doing that kind of applications, we use this this new layout. Where is the spec? Yes, this is the spec for each one of these. It has a fraction in the owner space for this point, another for this point, and the offset. And this is used by one of the things I believe that Hernán is going to show you. So now I am kicking back the ball to him.
Hey, thank you. Nice goal. So, okay, let me share the screen. Share here. Okay. First, I'm going to show. I'm going to show some things that the students have been working on for their master thesis, mostly related with refactorings and tools we use for development and teaching. I think Joel is here. Joel Camera, he's doing his master thesis, improving the struct variable refactoring, because currently the struct variable does not recognize repeated code. So he's adapting that refactoring to use the what we already had for struct method that I'm going to show in a moment, that also recognizes repeated code, and to use that for the struct variable refactoring. So if I select, well, here in this example, as you can see, 10 factorial is repeated many times, 3 times. So if I select this one and do a struct variable, struct temporary, sorry. So I can select the name of the variable, then F, let's say, and it will show me all the places where it's going to replace the set of collaborations for the variable. Of course, you can say, I don't want to replace this one, I just want to replace these two, or only the original selection, and then refactor will assign what you selected in the correct place to a variable, and then use that variable in the places that you wanted to remove it, to extract it. A tricky part of this is what happens when you have blocks, code blocks, closures. So I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to change to struct all the 3 places in this case, and the definition of the variable, then it has to be on the top context. Yeah, that's it here. You can see it here. So it's defined in the home context, in the top context, and then using the other ones. And in this case, what I'm going to do is, let's say I'm going to select this one. And as you can see, there are only blocks. So it's going to define the variable in the upper close context that's needed for it to be valid, in this case, inside this block, and not in the method. So there's an interesting work that he's been working on.
And presumably, if you deleted one of the options, it would have kept it in the lower block, right? Was that the idea?
Yeah,
as well?
yeah, that's right. Yeah. Let's do that. Yeah, that's a good question. Let me go back to here, and if I only remove this one, I extract this one. Sorry. Yeah, you say, no, I don't want that one, just that one. It will only find the variable in the right place. Yeah, it's an interesting work. It's working pretty fine. It's not integrated yet, but we're just testing it, and I think it's going to be in a couple of days or weeks on the Cuis base. I don't know if I showed this before. I have the idea that I did, but I'm not sure. So the same thing we have it for struct method. Struct method also recognizes repeated code inside the hierarchy. And Joel is extending that for recognizing a code that is repeated but can be parameterized with some differences between some places. For example, if you say, I don't know, 10 factorial, and then you have another method that says 5 factorial, that could be structured as a method that will receive a parameter that is the object that you will send the message factorial. Okay, but he's working on that. I cannot show anything about that right now, but I can show that if I want to extract 10 factorial to a method, it will, let's say, we call it 10 factorial. It will show me all the places where 10 factorial is, of course, in the class and the hierarchy. Right now, we only have one class. And I can the same thing. I can remove some of the places. I don't want it to be extracted, or just I want to extract only the selection I made in the beginning, or only in the method I am, or only in the class I am, or just refactor and will take all the places and do the struct method. So as you can see here, it sends message 10 factorial, and in all the places where we before send the message factorial to 10, now we have self 10 factorial and the method 10 factorial. So it's an interesting thing. It's pretty useful, and it works pretty well. There is a couple of more refactorings, one done by Marcelo Guzman. He has worked on improving some of the already existing refactorings as push up and push down to take care if, for example, if you're doing a push up, it will recognize a repeated code, and if you want to make a push up of a method that is also repeated in other sibling classes, it will ask you if you want to remove them from the sibling classes. And also other things like, for example, if you do a push up and you need to push up an instance variable for that method, it will ask you if you want to push up the instance variable, and so on. So it's some improvements on those refactorings, but I want to show a new one that we didn't have before. That is the struct parameter object. The struct parameter object is a refactoring that that creates a new class from parameters that you have in a method. You select the parameters and it replaces those parameters with an instance of the new class and changes all the senders of the message that you are doing the struct parameter object from with the new message send instantiation the new class. So in this case, if I do a struct parameter object, it will ask me, okay, which parameters do you want to struct to a new class? So let's say I want to struct both P1 and P2, could be one, whatever. Then what's the name of the new class? Let's call it extracted. Now let's call it P1 and P2. Oops, sorry. You can select the superclass and where in the category you want to put it. So if we do this, and then you have to select the scope of the search, because it's similar in some case to a rename, because it will create a new message, okay, and change all the senders of this message. So that's why you have to define the scope of the refactoring. Let's say we do it just in the class. So it will show you, this is the method that's going to change. These are all the senders that I forgot to show you, but this is a sender that uses 1 and hello as parameter, as P1 and P2. And then if we do refactor, the original method is removed. It doesn't exist anymore. Now we have a new method that is called as I don't remember why it's called like this. It depends on the parameters that you are extracting. In this case, because I extracted both, the name of the message end up being the same as the name of the class. But if you had more parameters that you did not extracted, then it will keep the keywords and the parameters not extracted. But anyway, in this case, let's see the sender first. The sender now instantiates the new class P1 and P2 with 1 and hello, that were the original parameters. P1 and P2 is the new class extracted one, which has an instance creation message that receives the parameters and initializes the instance with those parameters. So we have the initialization message, and it provides getters to get the information out of it, because some places you still using those things, those objects. So in the sender, it will instantiate that class with those 2 parameters in this case, and send the message, the new message, with that new instance. And as we can see here, well, before it did P1 print string and return P2 size. So now it gets P1 from the new class, the instance of the new class, extracted class, and P2 from the instance of the extracted class. There's some future work like removing extra parameters, but that's for the next students. But anyway,
that's a real time saver, that actually. Yeah.
oh yeah. It's an interesting way to, it's very common sometimes to have 2 parameters or 3 or 4 that always pass them all the time, and you have different methods. So doing this is very useful. You just extract, create that new abstraction, and it does everything for you. It changes senders. And
presumably the inverse hasn't been done, because sometimes you do it and you're like, bad idea, I want to go back.
Yeah.
Well, presumably it's possible though. It's just the opposite kind of.
Yeah. But yeah, why not? I didn't think about it. Maybe I will add it to my list. So yeah, it's this kind of refactorings, you only find them in IntelliJ. Okay, the struct parameter object, so right now in Cuis we have refactorings that are very similar to what you can find in IntelliJ. So it's pretty nice.
And presumably it's teaching the students how it's done. It's not magic.
That's right. And that's the most interesting thing. Yeah, having students to do it. And it's nice. It's nice to see that. Another refactoring that I want to show that was made by a student is a struct class. He did the move instance variable, the move method, and the struct class. It's an interesting thing. For example, you can, let's say, we have a message here, method, I don't know, M33, that returns hello. Oops. Oh, that's an error. Let's say it returns 10. So I can move this method to another object, and the receiver for that method could be an instance variable, so P1, P2 in this case. And if you have light typing, it would also provide you with the right classes for those variables. Or you could also say, no, I want to move it to a class as a class method. So let's say I want to move it to refactoring example. See, what did I did wrong? I don't know. Let's do it again. Move method. let's move it to a class. Refactoring example. There we go. So now that method is moved, in this case, as a class method.
Oh,
okay.
Time saver. Oh, God.
Yeah. So you can move it from class to instance to any object, any class. It's pretty nice. And so that's the move method. Move instance variables, the same idea, but moving an instance variable. In that case, you will have to move also to a target object that will let you know the target class. So let me show you this. For example, let's say that, okay, self new initialize. There we go. So now we have type information, and it says that v1 is a small integer. Yeah, let's do it. Do this. No. Yeah, let's do that. So let's say I have another method, m10, whatever, that returns again. I don't know. Date, today, whatever. So I can move it again, this method. Let's say we want to move it to v1. It's not moving to v1 because v1 references an object that in this case is a small integer. But the good thing is that when it asks you for the target class, because it already knows that the type of v1 is small integer, it provides you with that information and you don't need to do it by hand. So anyway. And what about the struct class? Well, the struct class refactoring is another refactoring, and it's very powerful refactoring tool, and it allows you to create a class from an existing class. So let's say you have, in this case, this class with 3 instance variables and methods that do something with those instance variables. So you can struct some part of this class to another one. So how this refactoring works, you come here and select, okay, what's the name of the new class? Let's call it extracted, I don't know. Extracted 1, let's say. And because you want to keep behavior, you want things to work the same way as before, we need some way to forward messages that were answered by the instance variables that you're going to extract. So we need to forward those messages to a new object, and that's why I ask you for the name of the variable that will reference that new object. Let's call it extracted, whatever. And then you select the instance variables you want to move, let's say v1 and v2. And here it shows you in blue which methods you can move. You don't have to, but you can move to also to that new extracted class. So let's say I will move M1 and M2. Refactor, and now we have a new instance variable called extracted. We don't have v1 and v2 anymore. That's in the class extracted. And what about the initialize? Well, the initialize, as we can see, instantiates the new class and reference that with the instance variable you decided to name, in this case extracted, and it initializes. Let's see the versions. Before it was like this. So now we have extracted, and v1 now is in the instance extracted. So that's why it sends the message v1 colon, the setter for v1, the setter for v2, and then in the other places, it uses, in this case, the getter. Well, not the getter. It moved the method. Sorry, I forgot. It moved the method n1 to extracted. So extracted now has the method n1 that uses v1, in this case, the setter and the getter. Of course, if you don't want to have these getters and setters anymore, you can do an inline method that is already provided as another refactoring. And same thing with M2. It forwards the message M2 to the new a object, in this case extracted. So this is a very powerful tool, refactoring, and allows you to break a big class in smaller parts, keeping the behavior of the system. And after you do that, you can start moving code around and remove, if you want, some getters, setters, and change the name of the messages and so on.
That's beautiful. That's lovely.
And yeah, it was a great work he did, because, for example, we have here getters and setters, but he only creates the setters if it is needed, or the getter if they are needed. So he doesn't generate more code than necessary. It's a nice work. And now I'm going to show another thing that was made by students last semester. This was not part of a thesis. It was just a challenge. I always make challenges to students, and if they want to have one more point in their grade, I give them a challenge, and if they do it, they get that point or 2 points, whatever. In this case, were 4 points. It was a lot because it was a difficult problem I gave them. And this is the method finder that I don't remember the name of the guy that migrated it from Squeak to Cuis, but it's the same method finder as Squeak used to have. So what I asked them was to add this debug option here that it was not before. So once you have what you're looking for, as we will see now, you can debug the methods. And the other thing I told them was, the method finder works well when you, let's say you have the receiver one without arguments, and you want it an answer as a result to be true. So if you look for method, for example, small integer odd is one of the methods, the messages, that if you send it to 1, it will return true. And the debug option allows you to debug that method. But you always has to provide, let's say that 1, 2, and you want to have 3. So every time you look for messages that are waiting for a parameter, you always have to provide the parameter. And that doesn't work pretty well with collections. Sometimes you want to, and it's very useful for newies, students that don't know the collection hierarchy and they are learning, and they want to do a select, but they don't know that how the select works or what the select is expecting as a parameter. They don't know that it's a block and that block has to return true or false, but they have in their mind that they want to filter or select some objects of a collection. So that was not possible to look for before, and last semester I challenged the students to say, okay, let's say you have a collection, whatever collection you have, and you want as a result something. You only know the collection and the result. In this case, let's say with 1 and 3. So I want to find all the possible messages that will allow me from this collection get this one. And it takes some time because they're trying many different options, but basically they're trying all the enumeration messages in the enumeration category of collection. And in this case, we see, for example, you can send reject with small integer even, or you can send select with small integer odd. So it's an interesting work because they know the messages they can send to each object based on the type of the object it is in the collection, and then they iterate over all the messages in the enumeration category of collection. And of course, you can debug it. So it's an interesting tool. I think it's pretty useful, and it was done by guys that were using Smalltalk for only 2 or 3 months. So that's even more amazing.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's all I have about tools and things I want to show about that. Now I'm gonna show a completely different stuff, and that's yes, of course. Yes.
Quick
Yes.
question on the tools. The refactoring work, how portable is that across different Smalltalk? I mean, there's some beautiful stuff in there. I don't know if is it sort of more bound to Cuis now, or is it?
The thing is, I mean, it can be ported easily, for example, to Squeak, because it uses the same parser that Squeak used to have. We didn't create a new meta model as the refactoring browser does, so you can port it easily to that, to Squeak, for example, but not to Faro, because Faro has its own parser and compiler right now.
Right. So it's more the ideas. There's probably good examples, but it's not.
I mean, because we're working with the AST all the time. So if we look away for adapting one AST to another, or just changing the places where we wait, you know, some AST node to answer certain messages, and change that, you know, based on the new AST or the different AST, then the refactoring should be portable. Yeah, but that's the work should be done.
Makes sense.
Any other question? Good.
Are there things that are difficult to do with the code rewrite engine from SMAC?
From who? Sorry.
The SMAC code rewrites from the code rewrite engine that is used in the refactoring browser.
I didn't know.
Are there different ones now, or is that?
These are different. Yeah, different refactorings. We don't use the refactoring browser. We implemented the refactorings from zero in Cuis. I don't know if I answered your question, Stefan.
Well, yeah, I would look at how compatible that would be to.
Okay. I mean, just to give you an idea, if you go to refactoring, then you have the superclass for all refactorings, and each refactoring is here. Yeah, and you have all the tests, let's say, struct method test. Yeah, and you have the test there with all the cases, and I don't know. Yeah. So yeah, you have all the information. It's open source, and you can look at it and port it to any Smalltalk if you need it. Okay. So what I'm going to show now, it's a different tool, a tool that we are developing at 10 Pines, a tool that LabWare is going to use or is needing. So he's investing in this tool that is going to be open source. It's a tool that allows you to define visually a window, any kind of widget, in fact. As you can see, I just opened it, and I can select different widgets from here and put them, in this case, in a system window. That's the default, but could be anything. So let's say I want to add a button here and another button here. And it has many features, like, for example, dragging and dropping, of course. And when you're moving it, it shows you the alignment guides. That's a work that Joel did, very interesting one, as you can see. And also, if you resize it, it will show you also the right alignment guides. That's thank you to Nicolas Papagna that had that idea. And it every time you drop it or resizes with the alignment guides, it snaps to the right positions. It has undo and redo built in. It started from the beginning, so all the things I did, I can undo it or redo it. Of course, you can select more than one and do the same thing, resize, drag and drop, and whatever. And of course, it has copy and paste that you can undo, redo, and so on. Let's remove all this. What else? It supports different containers, different type of containers. When I say containers, I mean, let's remove this, layout. See, right now Cuis has, as Juan showed, the linear layout that is the default that came with Squeak and is the one used for tools, and the form layout that is the one he showed at the end. So I could add here 2 different layouts, let's say 2 form layouts, and add things to them. You know, it's basic stuff. Let's add a label here. I don't know, whatever. And what else? Well, as moving or dragging, it takes care of the different layouts. And of course, oh, sorry, these kind of things too. What else? So of course, yeah, you can generate code from this. So let's remove it and let's go back to the basic example. So I can see how it looks like a preview. Okay, it's not, it doesn't look interesting. And of course, you can save it. Let's say we call it, I don't know, 2 buttons window in the example category. And you can go and see the code. And the code is pretty simple. Right now, what we're doing is well, right now there is 1 message per widget. So we have built, this is the initialize that it will create the form with all the information that you define in the properties editor that I haven't shown yet. And then you add to the layout, in this case, 2 buttons. So we can see here how the first button is built and how the second button is built. One interesting feature of this tool that's also thought from the beginning is that there is no static reference to widgets. It's all go through the widget library. The widget library is like the one that provides you with the things that you see here. It's also responsible for providing you the programmers of those widgets. We use that metaphor. We have programmers to write the code per widget, and this allows you to change. For example, you could define a window using a widget library, and then use another one to have a different widgets based on the same definition. It also allows us to manage the evolution of morph if you add new widgets or remove widgets or change the interface of a widget, of a morph. You can have different library types and work from there. So for example, let's go to a widget. I think right now we have morph. The only one we have is morph widget library. No, let's, I don't remember the name. Library, sorry. Morphic library. So here is what's the protocol that you should implement to have a different library. And as you can see, it's the one that tells you what are the builders for the widgets that it supports, how they are created, how they generate the code. And again, this part is also related to what we call the programmers. Each programmer has a responsibility to define the code that it will generate based on the definition of the widget. So you have a programmer per widget almost, not all. And what else? And of course, you have different types. In this case, we have a different. We use two different types of libraries. The one that is used at design time, and the one that sometimes we use for testing because we need some to have different widgets or things for testing. So this is cool because it allows the GUI designer to use, completely different set of more for widget library, and it should work. Right now, it only works with one, that is the morph collection in Cuis, but the idea is that it should be able to easily use another collection, widget hierarchy, sorry, widget hierarchy. What else? Well, of course, you can assign, well, change the name of a widget, assign it to an instance variable, generate the getter and setter. You can change their position on the screen right now in a very rudimentary way, but you could say, okay, I want it to be starting the 0, 0 position and take up to a 30% on X and 20% on Y. And if we preview this and resize it, it will always, oh, well, I don't know why it's not showing it. Well, anyway, it will always keep that that fraction that you define in the properties. Of course, you can change the color also. This is kind of rudimentary, but sorry. Work with the border, padding, and all the typical stuff. Also define what's the message you want to send to the model. That could be the window or the window model when clicking, and so on. It also supports the ability to define a menu bar. You could come here and say, okay, I want a menu bar. And you can define in the menu bar what are the options of the menu bar. That's done programmatically. So you will have to come here and do it by hand. We don't support that visually right now, but it's good enough, at least for what we need. And you can have composites widgets. So, for example, let's see a composite I made that is person info. So as you can see here, this is not a system window. This is just a widget that in this case is a subclass of form layout that has first name as a label with its input field and last name. We can look at the code. It also has, I'm using the same widget as model. So you can see here I have first name and last name as instance variable with their getters and setters. Okay. And I define it that visually this should take on X 45% and on Y also, and start on the beginning 0, 0 of the container. And I distribute them for them to have 1/4 of each has 1/4 of the total container. So after that, you can, let's say, create a new John window, whatever. No, sorry. What did I do? Well, I don't know. I can create a new window and add that as a composite here, for example, and it should work as expected. But let's go and see the one I already have. That is person window. And person window uses that person info. Those are the names I use. And it has the OK and cancel button. And if you press cancel, it would close the window. If you press OK, it will show you the first name and last name. Yeah, as we can see here. OK, press, inform first name, last name. And in the case you press cancel, it will send the message delete to self. That closes the window. So if I preview this, I don't know, let's say Alan. Okay. Why this? This is weird. Person info is nil. Well, I don't know. I did something wrong. Let me save the code. Run it. Alan. Okay. Well, I don't know. I just found an error. You know, demos usually fail, and I think it's and yeah, that's right. And I think this is because Alan Kay doesn't like Smalltalk, so just kidding. Man, I don't know why. So let me try again, because that should work.
Get initialized or something.
Yeah. Person window, create opening world. I think Alan. Well, oops. Okay. Oop. No, it's something. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Let's see. Maybe I've lost. Yeah, this is. Well, that's a bug. That's a bug, because I don't know why it didn't remember that it was saved as an instance variable. That's the problem. So let's save it now and run it. And let's use another name just in case. Dan Ingalls. Yeah.
Doesn't work.
Oh, yeah, that's the problem. The problem was Alan Kay. So anyway, this is just a very simple example on how you can compose widgets and play with them.
Great joke.
Thank you. Not me, Joel and Nico. Those are the guys doing the real work. I'm just taking credit from them. So, well, this is the properties editor. It needs some love. It's in some cases it's pretty basic. We would like to have here, for example, a nicer widget to edit the color. We will work on making this how you attach a widget in a form layout nicer, because this is not a simple or easy way to do it. We have that as in a to-do list. But anyway, it's working fine, and it has around, I don't know, 9,800 tests.
Oh wow!
That they test the model, are also they test the UI. We find, well, Nico found a way to simulate the morph cycles using a different world for morph, and you know, we pretty managed pretty well to test that. So yeah, and so you can, for example, we have tests for the drag and drop, for the resize from the UI point of view, not only the model but also the UI. And they're working. They all passed. So yeah, we're working right now on. Joel is working on the duplication of widgets. Oh, something I forgot is that you can also, for example, if you have a selection, you can align them to the left, to the right, the center. what's going? Well, let's do undo. Something. There you go. I don't know what happened there.
Put them. You aligned them on top of each other.
Yeah, that's that's the reason. Good point.
Yeah, you should align on the top, the bottom, not on the side, because they were working well. It's you that are not working well.
I'm sorry. Sometimes,
Long day.
Okay, so let's do this. So to the left, to the center, to the right, top, middle, button, and of course you can undo. Go back. The undo and redo works amazingly. That's something that Nico did from the beginning and works great. And of course you can the same width or the same height or both. In this case, they already have them.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's nice. It's coming along pretty well.
Do you have also a zeta order?
Zeta order? No, we don't have it. Not yet. I think we will need it.
Yeah, because you need some time when you.
Yeah. There are many things that have to be worked out.
This is very nice.
It's more than we used to have.
Yeah, yeah. Compared to before, is a big jump.
That's right. That's right. So yeah, and LabWare is investing on this, and it's going to open source it, and so we should be thankful to them for doing this, investing on this, and everything will be available, the code, the test, and everything. I don't know if there are questions. Any question? Something you'd like to see?
Question not related to the today presentation?
Not related to
it's just one guy, because just two things. There is some Postgres driver or connection or something that works quite well, or database are not something you're thinking about.
I didn't understand, Giorgio.
Postgres, you know the Postgres DB?
Oh, Postgres.
Database. Yeah.
Postgres database.
Yeah. Do you have some connection with Postgres? Some way to connect the Postgres?
Well, I know that there is a port for ODBC to Cuis, so you can use ODBC in Cuis, and if Postgres supports.
Yeah, but in Linux is not. Yeah, you can work with it.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
But no, we are not working on that.
Yeah, I know, because you are not interested in that kind of stuff.
I mean, we are interested in those kind of things if somebody pays for it. So
yeah, okay.
If you want to pay for it, we're really interested.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it's right now we don't have that.
Yeah.
What kind of the code for the form layout? I think it was called form layout.
Yeah.
How does it look when it's generated?
So the form layout is already a morph. Form layout morph.
It's Juan, nice layout, that one. Yeah.
That Juan developed. Okay, that's something that he did, and uses a layout spec that is the layout edges spec. Okay, and we just use it. And so, for example, in this case, let's look at the code.
Yeah.
For example, let's go and see build person info. So here it generates all the required information for that widget to be in the position that you define. Okay. The same for let's go to person info here. For example, this one. Let's see, for example, first. Oh, I didn't put names to the widget. So let's say this one is label 1, copy 1. Okay. I don't know why, but this one, and as you can see, here is the layout spec. That is the one I enter by hand. As you can see here, 0 at 0 and 0.45 at 0.45. That's exactly what I enter here. Okay. But we need a better way to define the attachments in this layout. It's a very powerful layout because with only those 4 things, you can do a lot of interesting layout. And as Juan said, it's usually very useful when doing this kind of windows.
Yeah.
Business windows.
So you don't get buttons becoming massive when you didn't mean them to be in, all this kind
That's
of stuff.
right. That's right.
I'm looking at the system browser, and it's like I always hate those buttons in the middle that just get bigger and bigger.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Good point. Yeah. Maybe sometimes. Well, one of the ideas is to use this tool to define a browser, a class browser, using form layout and see how it works. It is an interesting challenge. We are not ready yet because, for example, right now Nico Papagna is working on resizing, adjusters. Yeah, the ones that will allow you to do these kind of things in the form layout that we currently there's not support. Currently, there's not support for that. So he's working on that. It's a very difficult thing, but we'll have it soon.
Cool.
Kind of widgets do you have?
Well, right now we're using just button, text label, text model, list with multiple selection, hierarchical list, all the composites that you create, and menu bar. But there are more widgets that we haven't added here because it's just a matter of it's like pretty easy. You just go and change the widget library. We're more working on new stuff, like for example the adjusters. We've been working on the copy and paste, duplicate, those kind of things. But yeah, adding new widgets shouldn't be difficult. What you have to provide is what's the properties that you want to show in the property editor. What's the programmer that will generate the code for it, and then you just go to the widget library and add it with a builder, and that's all. Well, again, I don't remember the name of the class. I always forgot. Sorry. Let me show you. I think it's here. Yeah. So, well, let me close some windows. So something I didn't show is, of course, you can create a window that is bigger than the, drawing or design space. That's an interesting job that Joel did. Let me close some windows. Yeah. So, if you want to have a new widget, you just come here and you create the builder for it, and you add it here in this method. And what's a builder? A builder is something that will say, well, okay, how do you want to show it here with what label? What's the model? What's the message that will send to create an instance of that widget to the widget library? What's the category and the icon? And then you have to implement that message in the library. And of course, then you have something that is right now pretty awful, but I will show it to you. GUI programmer for in a window class. Don't think anything. This is going to change. But right now, we just look for the programmer based on the class of the widget. Okay, but you can each library could do it in a different way. This is started as a just a let's do it this way, and we haven't changed it. We have to change it. So yeah, those are the things that you have to provide to add a new widget to the library.
I mean, it can become quite complex because, for instance, most GUI tools also allow you, when you select, for instance, a button, or when you select the accordion or whatever widget, then you also have a different property page on the site. Is this supported already?
Yeah, I mean, different. I didn't understand the last part.
So when you go back to the window of the UI designer,
yeah,
then typically on the right side you have properties that you set, the position and other. And in most UI designers, it changes depending on the widget that you selected.
That's right.
Plus you have custom properties that you need to set for a button compared to an edit field or others.
Yeah, that's right. So right now, each widget has its own property editor.
Okay.
Yeah, for example, in the label case, you have contents, and in the button, you have label. Yeah. But yeah, that depends on each widget.
Okay, so this is already supported.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yes.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Are you using any sort of constraint solver for the layouts, or considered adding a layout that supports like defining constraints?
For the layouts?
Yeah.
We're just using the layouts that Cuis provides, that are the linear layout and the form layout. And I don't know what you mean by constraints, but in the form layout, you can define where you want the widget to be and how you want it to be resized when you resize the container. And it's very similar to what Juan showed. It's, I think, in the form layout morph. I think here. Oh no, where are the examples? Juan, do you remember? Of the form layout morph example, I think here. No, this is linear. Here, well, linear. Let's look for references, and
they are the one names. Yeah, those three.
This
Example
one.
Form.
Okay, there it is. So, for example, this is a form layout, and as you can see, it has some definition on how much each widget has to be, how much it has to use of the container, and if you resize them, it will follow that definition. I don't know if that's what you mean by constraints.
Yeah, kind of. There was a something called the cassowary constraint algorithm that was designed for UIs. It was the original implementation was in Smalltalk, and the idea there is you have like a variable for each corner of a rectangle that your widget takes, and you could say things like, well, this widget is to the left of this other widget, or it's 10 pixels to the left of this other widget, and below some other widget, and then that just gets the solver determines the position of all the widgets based on those constraints.
Well, I think it's the same thing that you can do with the form layout. That's the idea. Maybe not defining the same things, but you get the same result.
Okay, so can you maybe explain what those edges weight parameters
not me, but Juan.
Okay.
Juan is Juan, do you want to explain it a little bit more?
Yes.
Passing the ball to you.
Yeah, kick the ball back.
Yeah. Okay, but keep your screen there like it is. Keep sharing your screen.
Okay.
Okay. So each one of those widgets here in this example Each one of those green boxes are meant to represent widgets. So for instance, the light green box has 4 sides: a top side, a bottom side, a left side, and a right side. For each one of them, there are 2 parameters that specify where that edge will go. One of them is a fraction of the available space in the owner, where 0 means to the left and 1 means to the right. Okay, and then an offset is added. For instance, the light green widget there, its left edge is tied to the left edge of the owner, so the fraction part is 0, and its right side is tied to the center of the owner, so its fraction part is 0.5. Additionally, they have an offset to make it go inside, like a margin, that is about 10 pixels each side. So that's the specification, how the position of each edge relates to the space in the owner as a fraction from 0 to 1, and an offset that is added. I don't know if that is clear enough.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
There is some nice documentation in the class. Used to be some documentation or not?
Most likely.
Maybe in this. Here you go.
Yes, there.
Cool. Thank you, Juan.
Sure.
Any other question? So we hope we will release this in 10 years for you to use it.
Let's hope it's sooner than that.
I don't know. No, it's going to be available soon.
Cool. Okay, in addition to what Hernán has shown, if there is any questions regarding any of the things we said before, including what I showed before, please go ahead.
Are you
very clear? Or...
Are you going to talk about what's on the radar coming up? I mean, obviously no promises, but just ideas, things that you're focusing on.
Yes, on my side, I will soon go back to working on Bootstrap and compiled libraries. And that's the work that was done in 2023 and a bit in 2024. Something that I didn't say is that Cuis can now use the Sista bytecode set that was added to the OpenSmalltalk VM, and it requires quite some changes to the way of loading compiled libraries, and that was updated. And I will keep developing the idea of libraries so that the image can be better split in parts that can be loaded without require. The main point of these compiled libraries is that you don't need a compiler to load them. They are binary format with a binary serialization of the class shapes and the bytecodes of the compiled method. So the libraries can be loaded very quickly without the need to use a compiler. So that's what I will be focusing on in the midterm future.
Yeah.
So yeah, what we can add to that is currently is another student working on generating the peaks from at compile time every time you compile a method, instead of leaving that to the VM. Every time you compile a method, it generates the peaks for the method using the live time information. That's an interesting work because it's having pretty nice performance numbers. We will show that in the next week on the Smalltalks conference. And the idea is then to be able to just say, I want to, generate the peak for all this part of the code I have and put that on production, and then have a better performance because all the GTIN and peaks and everything will be already generated. That's one thing we're working on. The other ones are a few more refactorings I have in mind. I don't remember them. I have the list over there someplace. So basically that. Yeah, new improvements on the live typing functionality, basically related with generics and those kind of things. That's how you use live typing to do type inference, and you can get pretty nice stuff from there.
Beautiful.
Cool. So if you haven't heard, next week is the Smalltalks conference. That I think it's the 17th edition, if I'm not wrong.
Wow.
Yeah. Unbelievable. It's going to be here in Buenos Aires this time, at the University of Engineering at the Faculty of Engineering of the University of Buenos Aires. And I don't know, we're going to have fun, I think.
Nice.
And George is going to, he's going to lose it.
Yeah, don't tell me, don't remember. Non
Okay.
girare il coltello nella piaga, we say in Italy. Don't throw the knife into the.
Yeah. Yeah, we have the same saying. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't check from London. I checked it from Italy. I have still to try if from London is cheaper. Okay. Maybe going to London is quite cheap, so.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Okay.
it's those little tricks.
Nice
No,
work.
it's really cool. Actually, there was one question I did have in what you were showing. Obviously,
Yeah.
everything looks really crisp with all the vector graphics and everything, but why is the resize icon, or I don't know, the resize cursor that seems quite blocky? Is that still on the to-do list to change?
Most of the mouse pointers come from Squeak and were never redesigned. I believe the only one I redesigned is the little hand when you grab Morse around. That one I built it anew, and the other ones I said, yeah, someday.
One day, yeah.
Yes, yes, they could be better. Yes, it's true. And additionally, I really did at some point the 4 buttons at the top left of the windows to close, minimize, maximize, and menu, but I didn't redo the rest of the icons, and in particular the icons for the morphic halos could look much better. And in general, the menus also have icons. They look reasonably well, but they are from some icon library, bitmap icon library. I found that was free for any use. But there are much nicer vector graphics based ones. So yeah, it would be good to replace or update the look of all the icons in the system, including the mouse pointers. Using vector graphics, yes, that's something.
Because you've got the nice library to do it with, so it's yeah.
Yeah, there's always something more urgent to do.
Yeah, I know.
Faro exchanged them compared to Squeak, the old Squeak time, and there are icon libraries available, so you can also use the same as Faro. For instance, they have icon packs, and maybe exchange to the same.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, one is the one from IDEA, from the IntelliJ IDEA. One is the one from Eclipse and other. So because often people have a first impression if they open tools, and it's still what always in the time when you showed or demoed Squeak, this was the first discussion that you had. Why does it look so toyish?
Yeah.
And we have a very cool graphics engine of stuff in Cuis, and it's still say it need to be polished.
Yeah.
It needs to be polished, but one thing that I did pay some attention to in the old days when Quiz got started is to make the windows look a bit more modern. So the window frames and the scroll bars and the buttons and all that I redesigned trying to steal some design clues or style a bit from Apple, a bit from Linux, and not so much from Windows, but trying to make something that looked reasonably modern, but that was not completely alien to the user of any of those. But that was done over 10 years ago. So and UI styles keep changing. So we could revisit that. Something that I'm pretty sure that I will not do is to copy the rounded corners of the last version of Mac OS.
Yeah.
They made the rounded corners of the windows much rounder with a much larger radius, and everything looks childish and ugly
Yeah.
to many people, and they didn't add a way for you to tweak that to your liking in the OS, and that's weird. But anyway, yes, the style of Quiz already looks a bit more modern than Squeak because of that work I did many years ago, and it is due time to take better advantage of the vector graphics engine and make it look nicer to today's eyes. Yeah.
I shared in the chat the repo, the GitHub repo to the Faro icon packs. And when you check it, it's not only having PNG, it also having SVG.
Cool.
So scalable vector graphics for most of the icons, for instance, for marking a class as abstract or other things. Maybe you can want to check it out.
Nice. Yeah. I will take a look.
Yeah, nice share that. Yeah, because everything else looks really crisp, so it's be nice to update that a little bit.
Yeah. So
And I guess I recall for source code management, you guys you just like had the packaged files, didn't you? Just download just normal source packages. That was right, wasn't it? That's because I think you were quite comfortable with that, and that seemed to work well for the group that you are.
yeah, so far,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, so far it works well. The only thing that will change is that I plan to integrate them with compiled libraries so that a package may include or not source code and may include or not the precompiled code.
Right.
But in any case, it will still be something very similar to what it is today. It works well. It's easy to use it with a Git or other file-based code version systems. And I don't know, at some point I took a look at file tree, and I believe Tonel is doing the same today. And I find that thing of breaking into a million of files quite harder to work with. I don't feel it as comfortable. I think that a reasonable sized source code file is something that is comfortable and nice.
Faro initially started with the, let's say, breaking every method into an own file. But now the tunnel works with, okay, you have a class file. You have a file per class, which is
So
more
they
compact.
a file for class, right?
Yeah.
Today. Yeah, I think that a file per package is better. You have a single file with a version number that includes all the stuff, so you have less risk of having files that don't fit well together. I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't.
the reason was primarily because when you use things like Git or GitHub, then you can use their diffs online in the web browser and other without being in the Smalltalk tools, because they work on the same level, like for instance, the Java file where you see the differences. So you can have the structure, you see the package structure, you see the class file, and you see the diff on that level. When you have everything in one file for the full package, yeah, maybe you have more issues because of order or other things.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah,
this
yeah.
was the primary reason to do it like that.
Yeah, I agree. If you use a file per class, the GitHub tools and other Git tools will work better.
You sort of
I
play
agree.
well, don't you? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what most people are used who are not non-Smalltalk.
That's right, and
Yeah.
that's the other thing. Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's the other thing. Yeah, if you want to bring more programmers, we should be, as close as possible in some things, in some definitions as other programming languages. But
It's something that's something that anyone could do if they care enough, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
How did the students are you using Cuis at the university in
yeah.
and
Since
how did the students take into it? Are they enjoying it?
Well, so I'm going to talk about that next week.
Okay, all right.
But yeah, no, it's very interesting because at the beginning, as you can imagine, they all hate Smalltalk.
Yeah.
It's oh no, why Smalltalk? It's all language and it's completely different, and they suffer, But I managed to tell them, this is going to last 2 weeks. So you will
Yeah.
suffer for 2 weeks, and then you will enjoy the rest of the
Yeah.
of the subject. And and the nice thing is that at the end, when they provide us some feedback and comments, usually they say that it was a good decision to use Smalltalk. At the beginning, they were not happy, but then they could understand and enjoy the things that it provides, because we push a lot the idea of, being creative and doing research by your own, and then you have everything at hand. You want to see how the compiler works, let's go and see it. You want to change how the debugger works, let's go and change the debugger. And so that's why, like I said, I have challenges that I usually tell the students to do, and they just go and do it, and they sometimes it's complex things, and sometimes they're easy stuff, but it's interesting to see that, and they provide bug fixing or new features to the quiz community, and that's nice. It's nice because
Very cool.
they get also the sense of being in a community. But as always, then they go and start working with JavaScript, and they forgot everything. They forget everything.
And then one day you think to yourself, why am I writing all this crap? I just want to get Smalltalk back, right? It's like...
But no, it has a good reception. I found a way to challenge them, to ask, to look for their like to see something new and try new stuff that they cannot do in other languages.
Yeah.
And that's the hook, when you just, how you do this, and that's the hook.
Yeah, I agree.
So and I don't know if you know it, but the last this semester we have around 180 students. So in the exams, it's pretty interesting to see 180 people using Cuis Smalltalk at the same time. I think that's a record.
Yeah, absolutely.
A Guinness record.
Really,
At the same time, in the same place.
What do they think of the other languages after learning Squeak?
Well,
The-
usually they understand the difference. So I mean, not I don't know if everybody, but some students come and tell us, wow, this is completely different. I now understand. It's better than I understand now the problems with JavaScript, for example.
Yeah.
I understand the problems that Java has.
with Java, if they go to Java,
the Java,
they understand the difference with complexity against simplicity.
Yeah. And we talk a lot about it. We talk a lot about it. We don't run all the languages at all. We tell them all the, we just tell them, you have to know, you have to go and learn different languages. And I push them to learn also Lisp, Forth, SML, and then create an idea, of all the differences. And I think most of them end up liking Smalltalk. But again, the problem is they don't use it at work. They don't use it in every
if they
day.
keep the mental model, it helps.
Yeah.
I don't know. I am old because I never miss. I still miss Smalltalk. When I take another language, I say, "Oh my God, what a mess!" I am just looking. I like Go. Go language. It is a bit of different things, so much better than Java. But usually, still Smalltalk is the one that say this is simple and do everything, and the other are just a bunch of complexity for doing the same thing.
But it's not just the language, is it? It's the language and the tools. And
That's right. That's right.
And the
It's everything
beauty is
inside. The language
you
is the
create the
tool.
tools
Everything.
so easily in the small talks, right?
And that's very important, because showing them how to go from the tool to the code with the halos and being able to reflect on the GUI and then go to the code and change it and see it at the same time, the change that you made, and that it shortens the time you need to try something. That's right. The immediate feedback and everything. So we push that a lot. And we use also TDD as a technique. And when they see that they can run tests in just half a second, and they compare that to what they have at work. So it's interesting.
The tools are improving. The other languages are making a lot of
yes,
especially
of
the
course.
IntelliJ, all the tools from what is the name? The IntelliJ maker.
JetBrains.
They make really nice tools also for JavaScript. But Smalltalk has had everything from 40 years ago. So it was already all included.
So a tool that I think we are still missing is support. I know that Juan is not going to like what I'm going to say, but some kind of support with AI agents that now. Even though they are not perfect, but if we don't have something like that, it's like not having auto-completion. There's going to be a moment where everybody will be used to those kind of tools, and if you go to
steal that from GToolkit.
From GToolkit?
Yeah, you can steal that there.
Okay, I'm going to talk to Tudor.
You should also steal nested polymetric views.
Okay, I don't know that one. What does it do? I mean,
well, the thing is that that is the visualization that nobody else seems to use, and all the visualization tools show a flat view, and they don't go deep. And the nested polymetric views go deep.
Okay, cool. Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know about it. I'll take a look.
Yeah.
Didn't someone demonstrate some AI LLM stuff in Cuis recently? Did we not have someone that was showing something?
And there's also one for Squeak, to my knowledge.
Yeah,
Oh, maybe
but
it was the Squeak
There
one
is
that I
one for
saw.
Squeak. Yeah.
You could ask Veit to do it, the G toolkit with LLM stuff.
yeah, I'm gonna ask. I didn't see what he's doing about
Mm.
it, but I'll take a look.
Mm.
I think that's
There's
very
also
important.
there's also one for Squeak, so I think this would be easy to bring to
Oh,
Cuis.
cool, cool.
And I think Craig, who I think is online, did
Yes.
demonstrate the MCP stuff with his
Yeah.
environment
Yeah.
as well. I mean, some very interesting
Yes,
things going on.
I saw
Yep.
that one. I saw that one.
Mm.
But what I meant is something more related to what JetBrains does in
Right,
IntelliJ and those kind of things. Yeah.
Yeah, what is always interesting to explain from when you discuss with people from other languages like JavaScript or Java, it's that I tell them all the time, hey, it's not a language. Smalltalk is more an object system, and the language
That's
is
right.
just built in.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah,
language
right.
is just sitting on top. So when you show them, hey, there's a possibility to change everything, including the language. So if you do not have interfaces like in Java or C#, you could still provide them to the system if you like them. I think then you have a kind of moment where they where they realize, hey, this is really totally different, because in other languages you have to ask the vendor or the compiler vendor.
That's right. So
And in Smalltalk
that's a
you can
point.
change it.
There are different points in at least in the subject I teach where they, open their eyes. One of them is, for example, when I implement while true using just object and messages, and I show them how to do it in a recursive way, and then how to remove the tail recursion, the tail, using just restart. And what I do is I show them how to do it in the debugger, and then I go from the debugger to the code, and that's a moment when most of them say, "Whoa, this is something different." So there are different moments, at least in the subject I teach, where they see it
It's the
as
same.
something
It's the
interesting.
same with repeat until. Because in Pascal you had it repeat until, but you don't have it in Java, for instance. Simply with a method.
That's right.
This feature is something that is not well accepted in the industry. It was the problem of Smalltalk. Every time I was trying to have some customer use Smalltalk, the people on the IT department say, first time is no type system, so it's forget about it. And because they think that the people is not able to work with something that has so much freedom, and they say we got a lot of problem with the programmer we have, and they are just forced to do almost right because the type system help, everything is controlled. If you say that you can also change the system from inside, this add a lot of stress from someone who want to use Smalltalk in the industry, because for using well Smalltalk you need to use smart people, and most of the people prefer to use a lot of not smart people paying it a really low salary. So that's what I see in Italy. So there are a bunch of people.
I know that's usually something that people say. I think I prefer smart people, of course.
Yeah, I know.
And I think that when you start writing tests, automatic tests, then you start having better support for those kind of people that are not so smart. But yeah, I know what you're saying. That's what we usually hear. But there is no real statistic about that. I mean, it's just a feeling. They're just feeling. Okay, but who are more productive? That when you ask that, show me the numbers.
The problem is I worked for 40 years in the industry, and it was impossible to push Smalltalk exclude. Just I had two projects done in Smalltalk because the people that listen doesn't know Smalltalk, and they are fair about what Smalltalk can do. So it's very difficult to push Smalltalk in the industry because the people that already work there doesn't understand. They never tried, and they don't understand the possibility. They just see the lot of error that it could be done if the people is not smart enough. So it is all my life I tried to push Smalltalk because.
But in large organizations, productivity is counterproductive, actually, because that means that you have to manage less people. That is going to have a bad effect on your salary.
But I don't know. I talk from the customer I have. They just employ people that are really. There is some smart people and a lot of people that are really medium level developer. And so what I say, well, now they will be substituted by ChatGPT because most of those people, it will be a programmer no more existent because ChatGPT is just removing that kind of people. The smart one will be the one that can do 10 times the work just using AI tools. And so it's I don't know. I tried a lot of time. Very, very, very difficult. Only small companies understand that the productivity gain. The big company, no more. They don't care. Just number.
No, they care. They don't like it.
Yeah, probably because you are not power.
That's really the problem. So the manager in Delta Lloyd of the Smalltalk department is 1 or 2 levels below the guy responsible for the Java stuff.
Yeah, because less people. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. He does not talk with the people who make the decisions.
Yeah.
This is one problem, and the other problem is, for instance, I once talked to a guy who was a project manager and who had to decide, and he knew Java and he also knew that Smalltalk was better. But he told me when he knows that the project fails, he has to, if he comes with an esoteric language like Smalltalk, then they will blame him for Smalltalk.
That's right.
Yeah. And often often projects, if they fail for other reasons. But if he aligns with the rest of the world, then it could not be the reason that he has chosen Java, because that's what the rest is doing as well.
Exactly.
This is really a problem.
Yeah. Like IBM a long time ago. I choose IBM just because nobody
it's IBM. That's right.
It was a wrong choice. Yeah. But this is not management. The manager is paid for taking decision, not just to save the seat where they sit every day. So.
Anyway, I think we're not going to solve this problem.
No.
Yeah.
It's been around for so long.
I guess on the aside, I guess in the university setting, I guess this is where Cuis is quite nice because of that sort of cut down, clean, there's not a lot of distraction that gives you a good place to focus and
it's small.
focus,
it is small. This doesn't have too much noise and works pretty well fast. And it's a nice tool, and there are a lot of things to do that opens also the door for some research thesis,
nice.
and that helps too.
No, well done, guys.
You mentioned that it's funded for the UI designer. Is it used in commercial setups?
The UI designer is funded by LabWare. Is that what they use it?
Yeah. So they use it for real in commercial setups?
Yeah, they're gonna use it when the truth is they need it. That's why they're funding it, and they're gonna make it open source also. So they're gonna use it, and it's gonna be open for the community too. Yeah, it's a nice thing what LabWare is doing.
Yeah,
LabWare,
work.
LabWare is working at a lot of Smalltalk work inside. Yeah, VisualWorks. No, Visual Smalltalk. It was Visual Smalltalk, before. Yeah, nice.
What is LabWare using that for applications?
I don't know exactly what is using right now.
They are using. I don't know how to answer that question. They are using some commercial technology and some proprietary technology. They have a lot of stuff they developed in-house, and they are trying to modernize their tool set.
They do semiconductors, is there something?
No,
no.
LabWare is.
The main, you can Google LabWare. Their main product is LIMS, a software for handling essentially what laboratory processes. Okay, it's used in the food industry, it's used in the pharmaceutical industry, and it's used by many other industries who need to track physical samples of stuff and processes and the processes they go through and how they transform. So, for instance, if you have a blood test done, it's quite likely that the samples are handled by this software. Or if you take any medication, most likely
for blood tests, it might be Swiss Lab. That's the other Smalltalk system that's still in use for
Swiss Lab.
medical lab. But that used to be that's Object Studio.
Ah, yeah.
So it's a competition.
It's an European one, yeah. In quite large in Germany. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a high chance that any medication you are taking was also manufactured by processes controlled by LIMS too. It has a big market share, so it's very important in that. Yeah, that's a web site of the company. You can see more.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Are there any other industrial users of Cuis? Or
Of Cuis, I don't know.
Industrial users, well, as far as I know, Satellogic, the satellite company I worked for 10 years ago, they are still using the image rectification software that I wrote in Cuis and that runs in Cuis. As far as I know, they are still using it. So I haven't worked with them for 7 years already, but I believe that the stuff I did for them is central to their image processing pipeline.
okay, cool.
Okay, I think Tim, it's time to go and bring a beer.
Yes.
Yes.
A virtual beer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can drive after this beer. No problem driving.
As always, everyone, thank you to the speakers for sharing, what's going on in Cuis. Very interesting.
Thank you for the invitation and the opportunity.
Thanks for listening.
And thank you, thank you everyone for attending. And yeah, I mean, we're always on the hunt for new ideas, or even if you think it's a boring thing, often those kind of end up being the really exciting ones to talk about, and they generate lots of interest. So yeah, keep thinking, keep experimenting, everyone, and yeah, let us know if you want to talk about it.
Good.
Okay. Sure.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Right.
Bye-bye.
On that note,
Bye-bye.
Good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Fabio.
Thank
Fabio.
you.